In a typically quiet Parisian suburb, chaos erupted between rival groups. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense as makeshift battlefields spilled into the streets, creating fear and confusion. Imagine being caught in the midst of this turmoil. During a Yellow Vests protest, a dramatic scene unfolded in France.
Vas-y doucement, vas-y doucement. Pétrin, on est pris à partie par les manifestants. On reçoit un avance, avance.
A police car came under attack by demonstrators, but that was just the tip of the iceberg as the situation escalated further.
Avance, 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 vas-y, 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 avance, avance. Vas-y. C'est pas grave, avance. Vas-y, avance. Avance, avance, c'est pas grave, avance. C'est pas grave, voilà, c'est bon.
Fortunately, no one was injured. Similarly, chaos broke out during a protest between the protesters and the police. It seemed that the protesters were using a car to protect themselves from the police. The situation got heated, but thankfully, no one was hurt on either side. In the heart of Paris, tensions flared as protesters, some masked and wearing yellow vests, flooded the streets. Amidst the chaos, things took a dramatic turn near a well-known Parisian landmark as demonstrators took drastic action. It was a moment that left both witnesses in shock. The Rebeville-Belleville neighborhood in Paris had turned into a battleground for rival gangs. For days, violent confrontations raged on, shaking the community to its core. Residents were left feeling unsafe and helpless, watching as the chaos unfolded without any end in sight. In a dramatic confrontation in France, a group of illegal immigrants confronted police officers after they arrested a criminal in their community. What started as a routine arrest quickly escalated.
ولا إلينا.
Authorities faced with this backlash had to regain control quickly. Rioters in France unleashed chaos by targeting an Apple store. What began as a protest quickly spiraled into a destructive event, resulting in a significant loss of goods. Smashed windows and empty shelves showed the extent of the damage from the chaos. In the A high-profile jewelry store in Paris became the target of a carefully orchestrated heist. Masked individuals swiftly entered the establishment, catching staff off guard and leaving witnesses in disbelief. What was taken remains the focal point of the investigation as police search for clues that could lead them to the culprits behind this daring theft. As a scooter speeds away from the Paris Ritz Hotel, the aftermath of a dramatic heist unfolds. Axe-wielding robbers struck, targeting the luxury jewelry store and leaving onlookers in shock. The group made off with high-end items, leaving authorities scrambling to assess the full extent of the crime. Pogroms occurred in Nice and Dijon, France, where Chechens targeted neighborhoods inhabited by Maghreb Arabs and Ethiopians. This was a retaliatory response to the group beating of a young Chechen by Africans. The media has characterized these events as part of a broader conflict between Chechen refugees and Maghreb criminals. In Angers, what began as a protest against the far right turned violent. Protesters identified the establishment as linked to far-right ideology, sparking clashes that escalated the situation. A daring robbery unfolded at a Chanel boutique in Paris as a group of masked men on motorbikes stormed the luxury store.
Les gars, ça c'est un braquage. Ça c'est un braquage. Les gars, ça braque chez Chanel. Je suis égaré.
The thieves, moving quickly and with precision, targeted the high-end establishment in broad daylight. On Friday, December 11th, 2020, in the late afternoon, a brazen heist unfolded at the Montclair luxury boutique in Paris. Remarkably, the theft carried out without violence left staff in shock as the culprit swiftly fled. Authorities later apprehended those responsible for what is being described as a robbery in a meeting, a coordinated crime that ended with the suspects in custody. Tensions in France rose as violent clashes erupted between Islamist groups, Antifa, and French nationalist factions. What began as isolated incidents escalated into a dangerous situation, with different political and ideological groups turning against each other. The streets transformed into battlegrounds, fueling fears among the public. Military reinforcements flooded into Dijon after alarming footage surfaced.
Oh, vive Poutine, il vous a niqué vos mères, Poutine. Viens, gros, la mafia. C'est nous les Arabes, viens. Vous ne cantonnez pas là avant de te péter. Ouais, je sais, niquez vos mères. Niquez vos mères. C'est nous la mafia.
The videos, which spread across social media, depicted masked men marching through the streets of the eastern French city. Local police confirmed that for 3 consecutive nights, rival gangs clashed violently, intensifying concerns about escalating unrest in the region. In a dramatic turn of events, the streets of Paris became a scene of chaos as protests erupted, leading to a tense standoff between demonstrators and police officers. Protesters gathered in large numbers, fueled by a mix of frustration and passion, while police prepared for potential violence.
Oh là là, les cons, les cons. Ah, ils vont tuer quelqu'un là. Ah, ils vont tuer quelqu'un, les gars.
Barricades were set up and confrontations intensified, with both sides standing their ground. Protesters descended on Paris's iconic Champs-Élysées Avenue and businesses during the 18th consecutive weekend of Yellow Vest demonstrations. What started as a movement against fuel taxes evolved into widespread anger at the government, and this particular weekend saw a sharp increase in violence after previous protests had shown a decline in turnout. Demonstrators targeted upscale stores, leaving a trail of destruction as authorities struggled to regain control. A group of illegal immigrants took over Paris City Hall, demanding improved social benefits and accommodations. The protest highlighted growing frustrations within migrant communities, particularly regarding the lack of adequate housing and welfare support. Demonstrators occupied parts of the historic building, voicing their demands for better treatment and legal recognition. Chaos erupted between protesters wearing yellow vests and police officers during a demonstration in Paris. The protest, originally aimed at economic reforms, quickly spiraled into a violent standoff, with both sides showing no signs of backing down. A Paris police station came under attack as gangs hurled dangerous items in a violent escalation. The unrest erupted following the tragic loss of an individual while attempting to flee from the police on a motorcycle. As a response to the growing unrest, Paris remains on high alert, with a reinforced police presence to prevent further incidents. Another business in Paris was attacked and vandalized by members of a group known for their destructive methods during protests. The store's windows were shattered and the interior was left in disarray, adding to the toll of property damage across the city. As protests continued to flare up, local businesses faced mounting threats, with little protection from the escalating violence, while tensions remained high on the streets of Paris. In broad daylight, a group of masked robbers wielding assault rifles launched a brazen attack on an armored vehicle in the French city of Marseille. The heavily armed thieves swiftly moved to rob the Loomis cash transit van, which was transporting between 6 and 7 million euros. The suspects used 2 high-performance vehicles for the operation. In 2017, UK border officials intercepted a group of illegal immigrants attempting to cross the UK-France border.
Oh my God. I got him. Hell. Shh, I'm filming it.
During routine checks, authorities found several individuals hiding under a bus, hoping to enter the UK undetected. A Carrefour market on Avenue Gambetta was attacked by individuals, leading to a chaotic situation at the scene. Multiple fires were reported, further escalating the confusion and tension. However, authorities worked hard to manage the situation. Clashes erupted on Saturday night at Place de la République in Paris as protesters attempted to loot a sports shop, prompting police to make multiple arrests. The unrest is part of the broader Yellow Vest demonstrations, which have seen tens of thousands take to the streets for 4 consecutive weekends. French authorities, anticipating violence, deployed nearly 90,000 officers nationwide and detained hundreds while major landmarks were closed. Security footage from a casino in Marseille, France, captures a brazen armed heist. Several masked men storm the premises, wielding firearms as they execute the robbery. The thieves quickly move through the casino, overpowering staff and making off with stolen money. The chilling scene shows how well coordinated the robbers are, leaving little time for resistance. 2 teenage migrants from Eritrea and Guinea, both 16, attempted to reach Britain by employing a sinister means.
Oh my God, 2 people.
Where are the keys? Where are the keys?
Oh my God.
Colin, where are the keys?
What are you doing, you broken this, you
However, the car's owners, a couple from the Midlands, were travelling 100 miles deeper into France for their holiday.
Empty your pockets, empty your pockets.
Get your phone.
Empty your pockets. Come here.
Oh
Come
my
here.
God.
Empty your pockets.
No, where's our stuff? Not different.
I'm recording them now.
Where's our staff?
The migrants only realised their mistake when the couple stopped at a motorway service station. Police were alerted and found the migrants dehydrated but unharmed. In Nice's Moulin district, a group of individuals was spotted walking through the streets in broad daylight, openly carrying guns. The sight of these armed thugs has sparked concern and fear among local residents. A public display of weapons highlights the rising tensions in the area, raising questions about the enforcement of law and order. In Villeparisis, France, a harrowing incident unfolded. The abduction took place in broad daylight, sending shockwaves through the local community. Authorities were quickly alerted, launching an investigation to track down the perpetrators and ensure the victims' safety. This alarming event has sparked heightened concerns over public safety in the area, with police urging witnesses to come forward with any information that might assist in apprehending those responsible. Protests have erupted in response to a new law in France that prohibits taking photographs or videos of law enforcement officers with the intent to harm or reveal their identities. The legislation was introduced after police officers reported being doxxed and threatened by certain groups, sparking fears for their safety. Critics argue that this law threatens freedom of the press and the public's right to document police actions, fueling nationwide demonstrations and further intensifying the debate over civil liberties and police accountability.